Welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt Thiessen.
With me today is abundance teacher and money coach, Jody Lynn Craven.
This is your daily dose of happy. We are so happy you decided to join us today. Jody Lynn, true or false? We're going to have a lot of fun on the show.
True.
Yeah. We already know that. We haven't even started the show, and we already know that, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. Because of the the couple minutes we had meeting our guests today, and the vibe is exactly right.
100%.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Her name is Chaya Garcia. She is a dating and relationships expert. And I don't know what else to say at this point. This is just going to be fun. I'm just going to do what I always do, Chaya. I'm going to go to the very first thing, which is tell us how, I mean, there's always a life story behind this, right? That leads you to the path that you're on, that takes you to this point right here. Tell us that story that led you to becoming a date relationship coach. And don't leave out all of the mucky parts, because they're the good parts.
Of course. Those are the ones I start with. So basically, I was 26-year-old, totally fit, running every day. I had already finished my bachelor's and my master's degree with the highest honors. And I basically was like what you call the epitome of successful. Like, you want your daughter to get straight A's and a master's degree and have everything set up? That was me. But I was so sick on the inside, but no one saw it because it's invisible. And here was the thing. I was addicted to external approval. And I was addicted to going outside of myself instead of inside of myself, which meant my pain was never properly managed. My anger never properly managed. And the men that I attracted, also emotionally unavailable, just like me. And here is the thing. I learned that American society teaches you to be very successful, but they don't teach you how to have a relationship with yourself, just with accomplishments, just with other people's approval, which always leaves you feeling a little lost and a little bit never enough. So one day I was so excited. The boyfriend at the time, tall, dark, and attractive, coming over. And so I made breakfast for him. I printed out something for us to read together. And I got all dressed up. His car pulls up and he knocks on the door. I'm so excited. He comes up and he comes in a little lethargically. Not as excited as me, not as happy to see me. And we've been dating for a while at that point. I was like, we're going to get married. Everything's going to be great. And he told me that actually he's going to be breaking up with me to go do drugs upstate New York in a festival because our relationship was predicated on choose me or drugs. And for so long, he chose me, except that the whole time he was lying. And I was lying to myself that I even believed him. But that day, he decided he was going to be gone for the whole weekend. And he didn't want to lie. So he told me. So he breaks up with me. I'm left. And I'm like crying, fetal position, numb, in my bed alone. My whole room set up with no one there. And we were dating for a long time. So it's like a big deal. And I thought to myself, how did I get here? Like, how did I attract this whole scene? How did I choose, even if unconsciously, abandonment? And so I became obsessed with how two people choose each other. Let's say John and Joe look exactly alike. But what makes you say Joe is totally not my type? Like, never would be with him. Oh, but John is like so my type. I'm so attracted to John, but I'm so not attracted to Joe. And again, for this example, they look exactly the same and totally hot. What makes one person totally attracted to one person and totally not attracted to another person? And I became obsessed with that because I always hung out with guys. You know, they're all over. You hang out, you're fun, you're single. Why, out of all the men in my social circle, did I choose the one addict who was going to leave me? And it wasn't the first time that I chose an addict who was going to leave me. And here's the thing about addicts that I didn't know. They're sweet, they're affectionate, they're highly intelligent, they're spiritual, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with them except that they'll never be there for you consistently, ever. So at that moment, I became obsessed, like I said, and I started reading all of the books. And of course, after the festival, he was like, I did the worst thing. Come back to me. And I was like, nope. And then I went to the program and I went to the 12-step program and I learned all about addiction and codependency. And even though I was 26 with a bachelor's and a master's degree, and I did 2 years pre-PhD in psychology and sociology
Ooh.
and social work,
Okay.
I knew nothing about the depths and the truths of addiction and codependency until I sat in the 12-step program rooms. And I
Wow.
realized, oh, being hard on yourself is actually a disease that kills you and lets you attract people who will never be there for you because you're not there for you. And I learned that he can be amazing, but he can never, ever control it. And I definitely can't control it. And me being with that type of person will always cause chaos. So I worked on myself enough. I learned it enough till I changed my whole belief, body, mind, soul. And now I'm in my 8th marriage with a super stable, sober man who's very, very dreamy, but also my reality.
Wow.
Love that.
Yeah, I'm loving this on a number of different levels, not the least of which I'm now recently involved with a new lady friend, and we were literally at lunch talking about this exact topic today, which ended about a half hour before I got here to do the show. I mean, that's literally what my afternoon was about. So this is law of attraction in spades that we're talking about. Yeah. Jody Lynn, none of this sounds familiar, right? I mean, this is all very alien, right?
No, never chose the wrong guy. Never been heartbroken, ever.
They were all totally consistent and stable and spiritually aligned and sober. Yep.
No.
With you, man.
There was a lot of assholes. There's a lot of assholes. And I was an asshole. Yeah.
We attract not what we want, but who we are. And that's what I had to learn.
One of the things I loved in what you said there, and I'm not sure exactly how deliberate it was, but you talked about how hard you were on yourself, which was literally the subject of the conversation I had with my lady friend earlier today about how hard we are on ourselves. And I mean, we both in agreement, you know, if we treated our friends the way we treat ourselves, we wouldn't have any. It's, you know, it's one of those deals, but we routinely do it. And it's not just codependent people, by the way. I mean, this is like rampant across all of society, right? We like to make it, you know, nicely closeted and do well. It's just certain people in relationships who have this problem because that makes it nice and clean and tidy and so forth. And wrong. It's just not true.
Well, everyone has codependency and addiction. The question is it active? So everyone is effed up. Everyone has trauma. But the question, so I categorize. Some people are like, well, what do you mean? Then you're saying that I can't be with anyone with trauma? And I'm like, no. Everyone's screwed up. There's just two different types of people. People who approach pain and therefore are healthy because they approach it and manage it. And then there are people who avoid and distract from their pain and are therefore unhealthy. And so codependency and addiction is within everyone. The question is it active or not? When you feel like you want to control your best friend or this, or stop drinking, or you want to tell someone what to do, which we all have, or if you want to like drink too much coffee or smoke pot or drink alcohol, which everyone has addictive behavior. Are you approaching your pain where you say, oh, I'm just feeling like triggered and therefore I need to manage that? Or do you go pick up the beer? Or do you go call up the friend and tell her what she needs to do with her shitty life? You know? So it's, yeah.
That's also one of the pieces that's fascinated me for the longest time, because I don't really think of us as all being messed up. I mean, people have messed up experiences in their lives, but I don't think people are themselves messed up. Their experiences are messed up. Their choices are messed up at times, but they themselves, people are whole. I don't think there's such thing as a broken person. Every person is whole. The question is, what choices are they making and what kind of impact is that having? But the other piece to it, and you just kind of hinted at right there, isn't it interesting how many of us not only have these kinds of issues, but we're the expert when it comes to everybody else, right? I mean, because it's easy. It's easy to see, right? It's a lot easier than looking at your own stuff. I mean, hell, I don't have to do that. But I can see your stuff real well, so I'm going to tell you all about it.
I don't have to feel anything. I'm telling you.
I don't even know what I'm feeling, but you should definitely feel better about this because.
Exactly. Yeah. We're experts.
I think there is a component to believing, and this is just my belief, that we're not broken. We don't need to be fixed. There's nothing wrong with us. But I find personally so much power in the simultaneous belief that I am effed up and I'm 100% lovable. And I think it's a really important thing that I've seen breakthrough in my life, and I've seen breakthrough with a lot of my clients. It's that, you know what, you're maybe something did happen to you at your childhood with this, with your dad, with your mom, whatever. But effed up, I don't think is a bad thing. It just means like just something happened where you don't think you're perfect. And that's okay, because we're not meant to be perfect. So what I find solace in is I am 100% effed up and simultaneously 100% lovable. And nothing that I've done or that has happened to me will ever change my lovability, that I deserve love, that I deserve good love. And so many people think, oh, I'm effed up and therefore I need someone who's also effed up. Or I'm a little broken and traumatized, so he'll understand me because he's also a little broken and traumatized. But if you believe that all the weird stuff that has happened to you doesn't diminish, lower, or dim your bright light, and that you're 100% lovable and still completely deserving of love at its best form, you really break free from any limitations or
Oops. I think we got a freeze there.
I thought that was me. Yeah.
I think she's coming back.
Elsa. I'm here. Now.
Probably got a cell phone tower issue is my guess.
It's all good.
Oh,
Starting to
back.
yeah, a little bit.
I see
It's too bad. She's in the
you.
middle of a really good phrase there too.
I see you. Oh, am I back now?
We're starting to hear you.
Yeah.
The image isn't working, but we're starting to hear the audio. Can you hear us? Not quite.
No.
She may have to do a reboot. I'm going to send her a message to do a reboot. If she can get it. I don't know. Maybe it won't get through. Who knows?
Oh, the internet.
Yeah. But well, actually, while she's doing that, I wanted to comment on what she was saying, because she was making a really, really important point.
Yeah.
Which is, we have different ways that we can look at the phrase she used. She used the phrase, I'm effed up. That was the way she said it, right? But you could tell the way she said it is very different from the way most people say it.
Yeah.
The way she said it was, I accept myself. I love myself for it. I'm okay with it. This is all. She had a high vibe take to it.
Totally.
Most people who say that have a very low vibe take to it. That's the difference.
Yeah. It's not followed with the simultaneous belief of I am 100% worthy of love.
Yeah, which is like an absurd concept anyway.
Yeah.
What do you mean you weren't? What happened? What changed, right? Okay. Are you back?
I'm back. Is it good? Is it clear?
It's better.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. All right.
We were just commenting while you were reconnecting that I was loving the part where you were saying I'm effed up. And the reason I was loving it is the way you said it, because you said it in a way that was self-celebratory. And this is great. I love my life. I'm a good person. This is all wonderful. I can say I'm effed up because I'm okay with it. I feel great about it. Whereas most people, when they use that phrase, they're saying I'm so effed up. It's a completely different vibe. And the vibe is what makes the difference.
And then if you say yourself, you know what, I'm a little left up, my mom wasn't there for me, or my dad, then no one else can say that about you.
Right.
Do you get it? No one else can make you feel like you're less than. If you're like, you know what, definitely have had that hard stuff.
Beat you to the punch. You can't get me now.
Lovable. Still lovable.
Yeah, exactly. That's fabulous. I like that. The other thing that was really, I was starting to comment on too, the thing that was just kind of jumping out at me is not only were you focusing on the being effed up part in a very high vibe way, but you were also focusing almost simultaneously on the love part. And that's the part that we all kind of know theoretically we have to do. But practically, if you listen to what's going on inside our head throughout the day, how much of it is actually playing? Most of the day, it's like, I can't believe what the boss said, and my kids are giving me a hard time, and blah, blah, one negative after another, complaining about this, that, and the other thing. But I'm a positive person. I really am.
Or when women say to me, like, I love myself. Do you love yourself? Yeah, of course I love myself. But I totally let him take advantage of me. My boss makes me stay late and I don't say anything. I'm so angry at her for doing this. Like, oh, so then you have absolutely no idea what love is if you think that that type of behavior towards yourself is what love looks like.
Yeah, well, or the other way to say it is, so that's an interesting take on love. I mean, what kind of love is that anyway?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
But we are meant to train our minds. Like, we're not meant to just have thoughts. We're meant to actually use our mind. Like, if I tell you to think of a pink elephant, you can now think of a pink elephant. If I tell you to think of a pink elephant standing on a ball with one foot, you still can think of that. It's just I focused your energy on an image, and so you went there. But you can reshift your thoughts. It's just most people don't think and realize that that's a priority. But our mind is our map. What you think of is where you go. What you focus on is what grows in your life. What you believe, which are your thoughts on repetition, is what you attract. So most people are just like not conscious of managing their thoughts. It's like having a puppy and it just like pisses all over your house. No, you're supposed to train it every time it needs to pee, go outside. But some people don't do that. They're just like, I'll just leave it a wee pad and it'll just piss when it needs to go. But then you live in a mess your whole life. You're meant to train. You're meant to move and to make it a priority of where your thoughts are. And if they're not great, to shift them back.
Yeah, my neighbors are an excellent example of what you're talking about with the dog, because they just got 2 puppies. And their idea of training the puppies is, no, don't do that. Don't do that. I told you, don't do that. And they expect that the puppies know English at this point, and the puppies go, bah, 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 bah. No, I told you not to do it. It's like this ongoing thing. They don't actually know how to listen to the puppy. The puppy has no idea what they're saying. They haven't figured out how to transmit their information in a way that makes sense. But hey, this is how my dad did it. This is how my mom did it. So this is the way I'm going to do it.
Versus like going on YouTube to type in puppy training, like, oh, you need to put a treat and then move them when they pee and then give them a treat when they pee on the grass. And then in like 2-3 weeks, they stop peeing in your house, but they're not taking the time and the effort to learn and educate.
That's too much work. That's the
Right.
point. Why do I want to have to do all of this work? I shouldn't have to do this much work. This is crazy.
It's like mommies who don't sleep train and they're like, whatever my baby needs. And then like the baby's 5 years old, still like waking them up in the middle of the night. I'm like, you could have stopped this when they were infants, but it was too much work. But then for the 5 years of your life, still not having a good marriage because your kid's still in your bed and you haven't slept with your husband in like, oh, way long because your baby's in there. You could have slept trained them and taught them about security if you learned how to become more secure.
This touches on something really important that ties directly back to the whole dating and relationships thing, because we learn the skills or lack thereof from a very early age, and we don't really connect that, do we?
No, most people don't connect it. Most people are still in blame mode. They're still like,
yes,
if only my mom would have wiped my ass better, I wouldn't, not whatever. People just love to create stories of how everyone else is the problem, why they're not doing the best that they could. I'm like, dude, you're 30, you're 40 years old. Like, I get it, but like the only person who right now is in your life is you. So focus on that. Like, let go and focus on what you can control.
I have someone in my life like that, and I'm like, she always complains about her dad and how you're so mean to her or whatever. And I always say, like, okay, you're 42 years old. You've effectively been away from him longer than you were under his care. Like, so what have you done in the time that you have not been with him to heal that, to fix that, to let go of that, to like not let it stop you from everything? Like that thing that happened when you were 16 and he said you were fat. You're still letting that control your entire life at 42. Like, good luck to you.
You're going to need it.
Yeah. You should probably just let it go.
When I have clients who want to become my client, I have like a filtration and like before I like take a call with them. And I'm like, one of the call questions to qualify them is, are you ready to take full responsibility for your life? Or do you still think someone else is?
Yeah, that's the key right there. Because
such a good question.
Yeah. Is there somebody coming to your rescue?
Yeah.
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 The way I like to summarize it, this has been my pet theme for like the last 3 or 4 months. I like to summarize all this as being under the category of victim psychology.
Mhm.
And the reason I
Yeah.
like to categorize is, first of all, it's such a wonderful category because it applies to so many areas of life. In fact, to be honest, I haven't found one that it doesn't apply to. If you find one, please let me know. I'm trying to balance the scale a little bit, but so far, everything that I'm finding says, yep, there's victim psychology involved in that one too.
Mhm.
It's amazing. And talk about addiction. Well, first of all, I believe that's what the root of addiction is. But second of all, we're addicted to victimhood.
Mhm.
I mean, if you want to summarize it really quickly, that's what we're addicted to. We just express it through drugs or alcohol or sex or gambling or something else. But we're addicted to victimhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, victimhood is real. A lot of people don't want to take responsibility, and a lot of codependency and addiction are like different components. One, there is physiology. They
Uh-oh.
created it in the lab. Oh, am I here still with you?
Yeah.
Yep,
You're back.
you did
Okay.
drop out for a second, but you're back, so that's good.
I cannot control the Wi-Fi. Maybe next lifetime.
Welcome to LOA today, where technical issues happen all over the place. We say, okay, we'll just keep going, no problem.
So like addiction, there is physiology issues, like especially with pharmaceuticals, they literally in a lab with such high levels of dependence that you have passion for people who aren't familiar with pharmaceuticals and who unfortunately get addicted. I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of opioid overdoses of all things. It's not like, you know, not to be like racist, but it's not like a black kid in the ghetto or a white kid in the trailer park. It's like doctors, old people, nurses, like you know, they're prescribing them in a way to intentionally have people addicted. There is so much corruption in the pharmaceutical world. So that's one component, is the physiology, and another component is a spirituality. Most addicts, or most people, are all living a very, very spiritual existence, but in a physical world. And so if you're disconnected from your spirituality, from your God, from whoever you believe is God, from the universe, or something greater than yourself, it's too easy to fall into something numbing your pain, because it's very painful if you don't believe in something greater than you, or you don't believe that there's something, you know, nice and bigger for all of the way things happen. So actually a big component of addiction is a spiritual disease, that you become so self-obsessed, I guess, with you trying to fix your pain instead of saying, God, this is way too big for me, you take it. But in program, once people learn to surrender and say, God, like, this is way bigger than I can handle, you take it, they can actually calm down enough not to have the pain be so overwhelming that they just run to their drug of choice.
Yeah, you're talking about the difference between fixing and releasing. In a nutshell. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a big difference. It's one that you don't really think about if you're in the midst of it. Fix, release, I don't care. I get rid of the pain. That's all I care about at this point.
Mhm.
But when you take the time to focus on it, you realize there actually is a pretty big difference. And the biggest part of it, from my perspective anyway, I mean, there are lots of viewpoints you could take on this, but the biggest perspective from my point of view is, which one requires me to do the most work?
Mm.
That's the difference.
Yeah, I like to call it chutes and ladders. Like the ladder,
I like that. That's good.
I have to. I'm in the middle of a book and I'm like, there's like an image. Like, you want to work on yourself, it's going up and it's step by step by step, and it's a ladder and it's effortful, and you still need to put it. And at some point you're going to get tired, but if you want to keep going, you got to go up. And like the chute is down. It's just like, whew, that was easy. Like,
Yeah,
I just
really.
got high. Boom. I don't remember anything I was worried about, but you never heal from that. And then as soon as you're not high, it just comes right back up. So it's like, or for a woman with codependency, like for me, it was like being in his arms or being in his presence. And I was like, life is so good, but it wasn't. It wasn't. But for me, it was my safe space. If I was with him and he told me he loved me, I was okay. But it wasn't real love because it wasn't, you know, stable. But for me, that was my addiction. That was my, I don't need to focus on me. I can just not think about all the crap. And if I'm just with him, I'll just focus on that. And if I can make the relationship work, then my whole life will work. but it was such a delusion. And I didn't realize you can be so intelligent, so successful with straight A's and a master's and all this great thing that was in my life, and also effing delusional. And I was totally delusional, thinking I can make my relationship work with somebody who was like snorting ketamine. I didn't even know what the fuck that was, but I was like, I knew it wasn't good. You know?
Well, you got that part right anyway. That was good.
Right. Like, but like, how could I have ever thought that I can change a grown man's behavior? I wasn't 14. I was like 25. How could I ever thought that my love or anything about me can change a grown man's behavior?
So your expertise these days is being a dating room and relationship coach, and
Truth.
Which is a really big field, and it's a growing field. That growing is probably an understatement. I would say it's an exploding field.
Well, 99.9% of them suck. The dating coaches.
I will not disagree with you.
Tell us how you really feel.
Most of them are not in healthy marriages. My private life.
I got to stop you right there. Isn't it interesting how many coaches don't have long-term healthy relationships? That blows my mind.
Even teachers or like psychiatrists or psychologists or like social workers or whatever. Like, you're supposed to be helping other people and your house ain't clean.
Yeah.
My private life is the proof. It's so, no, you're so right. And I went to school with all of these people, so I know that they're all quacks. No, some of them are great, but like, you have to know codependency. You have to know addiction. Most of them don't know that. Most of them don't know what and then I also have my psych degrees, and then I also learned it on my own. I became an expert on my own after all of my degrees. Most of them cannot tell you what narcissism looks like on the first date. Most of them cannot tell you what active addiction looks like on the first date. They just aren't well educated. And so my issue is like, I don't care how many dating coaches they are. If they don't have a long-term stable marriage, they probably are still missing a lot of information. Otherwise they'd have it.
Yeah.
And the other part is if you don't understand the depths of the reality of mental illness that's rampant, then you can't help anyone, because you'll tell people to stay when they really need to leave, and vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah. My ex is a former psychotherapist, actually, for a 10-year period. And one of her greatest frustrations during that time that she was actively doing that career was that she kept trying to do all these common sense things that all of her teachers said you can't do. And she did them anyway, very successfully. After a while, she got confident about it. But in the earliest stages, she felt like she was like pushing against, the entire fortress of the community, because that community can be pretty strong in its beliefs about how things should and should not be done. So when you kind of go against that, it takes some guts to do that. It takes some guts.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my kid might come in, but like, you have to be brave. Like, for me, I feel very brave, but I also feel compelled. I feel very compelled to be a voice of truth, because I was in the dark, and I was in the rooms, and I was in the pain. And I don't think that most people have done the work. So how dare they try to tell someone what to do if they haven't done it themselves? And it's not a conceptual work. When you're healing, and you're healing like relationship stuff, and you're guiding someone on who they're going to marry or who they should leave, that's not fluffy stuff. Like, this literally changes the trajectory of their whole life.
Sure.
Sometimes there's kids involved, and relationships impact your health, your money, every other area. So it's not like, it's an area that is like so powerful that I feel compelled and like almost obligated to be the voice of reason in so many people's chaos. And some of them are like, sleep with him right away, whatever you feel is right for you. And I'm like, that is such bad advice. Like, no, that's not what you do right away.
And I know you tend to work more with the women. I'm 2.5 years divorced after a 23-year marriage, and so I got thrust back into what the modern single scene is. And I've mentioned this a few times. I was stunned to find out it's even worse than it was when I got married. But by a large, even though we have all this online stuff and so forth, it's actually worse than it was.
Oh, it's so bad.
Yeah,
it's so bad. Like, it's gross. Well, pornography basically non-consensually pays women to be raped for other people's entertainment. I was doing research for a VSL, for a webinar, that, like a VSL, you know what that is? Whatever, an ad that I have to run. So to run an ad to see if people want to do coaching with me, part of it is just showing market data to see why you really need a dating coach. 40, it's crazy crap, 40 million views on some pornography site in a month. And I was just like, oh, but it's literally filled with violence and it's just so bad. So like when you started dating to where it is now, what they've normalized in American society is rape for entertainment, and the women are being drugged. And it's like, this is normal. Women don't even mind if men watch porn, which to me is insane because of how violent in nature the pornography world is. So when you started dating, women had some semblance of respect. Now women don't even have any respect for themselves, let alone for men's poor behavior. They just allow and accept poor behavior as norm and then wonder why they're being cheated on or they're worried about it. It's like, go back to basics, you know?
Well,
yeah. And this is my daughter. You have chocolate all over your face.
The way I experienced it when I came out of my marriage was, I got, hello there.
She just came home from school with chocolate all over her face. I can hold you. I'm listening though. I'm with you.
What I was going to say is that when I got thrust back into the singles scene, I was kind of stunned and shocked about the messaging that single men are getting from other single men and from coaching in the single space. And I actually latched on to a couple of the better coaches, but even in their spaces, some of the messages that are being passed along, I mean, they're like out of the 19th century. It's stunning what's and it's being presented as if it were a great good. And I'm thinking, what happened? I don't understand what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the dating world is really bad, and dating apps and the plastic surgery industry that promotes you're never enough. So fill your lips with fillers and cut open your nose and slice open your breast. And if your breast protrudes like 4 inches further, you might be more beautiful now and therefore worthy of love. So women are getting their boobs, their nose, their cheeks, their lips, their everything. They're never enough. So when we started the conversation saying you're effed up and 100% lovable, what if you're not perfect and still 100% lovable? Like, you don't actually change everything about you to finally feel like somebody's going to want you now.
Yep. And on the men's side, when I was previously single, there was plenty to be confused about because the whole gender thing had shifted around so much, and so it was hard to know what the male role was, so to speak. But now it's gotten to the point where the male female role dynamic has been so twisted that, I mean, I recognize what it is. I really don't want to, but I recognize what it is. But it's one of those things that if you're a young man coming up and encountering this, and this is basically your introduction to what male-female relationships are all about, my God, it's no wonder so many relationships are messed up just because on what they're being taught. In fact, I've tried in my little space, I try to be the voice of reason of some of this. I get cut down on it a lot, but I fight back anyway. Every once in a while I get somebody who actually latches onto what I'm saying, and they say, wow, I haven't heard that. Thank you for that. A lot of the time, though, stuff I say, it falls on deaf ears, which is fine. I mean, I don't really care how they take it, but it falls on deaf ears to the point where, they think that what I'm saying is laughable. They think it's crazy. I'm thinking, boy, we've really come a long way in the wrong direction in the last 25 years.
Yeah. I mean, but I still go back to basics. If you want a man who's going to treat you well, he pays for you. He pursues you. He shows you he wants you. He prioritizes you. Even when I was dating, I'm like, I don't want a man who's going to make me send my 6-week-old to daycare because that's insane. I don't care if that's normal. My baby isn't going away at 6 weeks old to daycare because my husband can't afford. I'm not being mean to anyone who can't afford it, but my husband can't afford. I just dated differently. You get to choose who you marry. I just date anyone who couldn't afford to pay for me and my kid, aka the rent and the food. I didn't date them. I was like, screw that. Because you can't work after you have babies, and that's normal. You know why? Because you give birth, you lose your mind, you're breastfeeding. You're not supposed to work. You're supposed to not screw up the next generation by being there for your baby, not ship them off to a bunch of strangers who don't care about them when they're 6 weeks old. So,
Mhm.
you know, the world can laugh at you, but as long as you're the proof of a happy, healthy life, which I very much, thank God, am in the sense of my private life and my husband, it's like, I don't care, because you want to follow people who are where you want to be. You don't take $1 million advice from your auntie who only makes $100,000. If she's like, don't do that with your money, it's stupid. But auntie, you don't have any money. But don't worry, I know, I've been around longer. Just ask the millionaire, how did he make his million? You just got to know that you want to follow and mimic the people who've done what you want to do and are where you want to go.
You see, now you sound like Jody Lynn, because this is exactly what she talks about both here on the show and about her clients. I mean, how many times have you said this kind of thing, Jody Lynn? Seriously.
Totally, absolutely. It's so true. I mean, what is somebody saying versus what are their actual values? How are they really living their life? And I think that authenticity, that, you know, being genuine is so incredibly important. And it doesn't mean that it's the same for everybody. Like what happiness looks like to me versus you guys, it might be something slightly different, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
But there's power in figuring that out, owning that, knowing that, and then demanding it. I don't know if demanding is the right word, but like standing up for it. I think about like when I first met my husband, before he was my husband, when we first started dating, because I had so many shitty relationships where I got walked all over. I was the money bag. I paid for everything. All of these really shitty things. And I had to reprogram everything. Like, I am good enough. I am the sports car. I am the Corvette. You need to pay to play. And I would say this in my head all the time. You need to pay to play. Like, and I don't mean it as in like you needed to give me cash or you needed to buy me dinner, but it was, you needed to provide for me and take care of me. Like, I need to feel like you're pursuing me and you're taking care of me in a way that I've never been taken care of before, because that's what I want. So you gotta pay to drive this car. this ain't for free, honey. And I made commitment to have sex, which was the first time that I ever did that, because I've forever been chasing men and thought, oh, if I just give it, then I'll get exactly what I want. And time after time after time, it did not work. And I've told this story on our show before, but I was literally like just starting to talk to my husband, and we're going back and forth and, whatever, just flirting over text message, Facebook Messenger, I think was where we were talking. And I was thinking it over of like, I think I want to wait until marriage to have sex. And I hadn't said that. And then I went to church for the first time in a long time. And that was the sermon that day. And I was like, fine, okay. And I was like, so I've decided I'm not having sex until I'm married. And he was like, all right, see ya. And I was like, oh, that's so sad. And then I was sitting in my car in the parking lot at church and was like, I really liked him. And then I'm like, Jody, you got to pay to drive the car. I'm like, that's right. Okay. He's got to pay to drive the car. And I'm about to like literally drive my car away. And I looked down and he was like, I'm totally just kidding. I'll wait as long as you want me to. You're worth it. And I was like, oh, okay. I had no idea that was coming next.
I have the chills. That's so powerful.
Thank you. Yeah. It was a completely different experience.
Because you changed your worth.
Mhm.
Yes.
I also slept with my husband after we were married, and we
Yeah.
dated a pretty short period of time. But how do you know if somebody wants you or something that they can get from any other woman?
Yeah.
If you don't get to know them first? It's not a benefit to sleep with them. It's not good. You get blinded and confused and attached. He gets blinded and confused, but definitely not attached. And, it's not helpful, because the whole reason we date is to see if we want to spend our lives with this person, not to date to be like, I think I want to be abandoned by this one. Like,
No.
like, I think he would be good to leave me. Like, you don't date to be left.
No, or heartbroken, or like, somebody to be mean to you or any of those things.
Or
And by
tell
the
you
way,
you're not enough.
That's what a lot of the male coaches are teaching. Wait for her to come to you.
No.
Don't.
That's horrible. Is
Well,
that really what they're teaching them?
some of them, not all of them, but some of them are.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not surprised at bad advice, especially relationship advice, but that's really bad advice.
Yeah.
Because you're the man. How are you going to even
Oh,
want
well-
men bond through pursuit?
They do want the man to initiate, but they don't want the man to initiate until she demonstrates that she is going to be coming after him. In other words, it has to be her first, then he can initiate, which is kind of a weird sense of initiation.
Weird.
Yeah.
I'm not even trying to fix the coaches. I just want to fix the people.
I don't blame you. I can't figure them out either.
There's a coach who says date him till you hate him, and I'm like, that is such bad advice. And like, she's really famous and she's like much more popular and social than I am, but I'm trying to work on my algos, and I'm just like, such bad advice. You get to know yourself. You get to be clear on who you are. You get to educate yourself on what unhealthy behavior looks like. And then when you show up and it doesn't vibe with you and you see unhealthy behavior, you run. You don't date him till you hate him, till you get blinded or confused or disillusioned as to why it might work out. And she's really well, like she had like 23,000 likes and like, and I'm just like, dear Lord, please let me get bigger so I can have the world.
It's such bad advice. You're just wasting your time, your energy, your effort. It's so incredibly confusing. Like, and way to like really put men down. Like, we don't need to man hate. They're not all bad. Like,
I think they're mostly good.
Yeah, exactly. I think so too.
Well, that's the other piece, because there's a lot of alpha mentality being preached to single men. You have to be the alpha male, and the people who are preaching that don't really grasp that. Yeah, sure, that includes the idea of being the pursuer, but they turned into the male has to be the dominant. The male is the one who makes all the decisions. I mean, it's like right out of the 1950s. They don't make the connection about what it is that they're actually putting out there. They don't recognize the harm that they're setting things up for. All they think is, well, the male is supposed to be the initiator, so therefore the male should be in charge of everything. Oh God, please. I lived through the 60s. I don't want to do that again.
Well, women are still not owning their worth. So they want a man who will dominate because it feels safe at first. When you don't know what you want and what you need and how to feel your feelings, it feels safer and familiar for someone else to tell you what to order, tell you what they like you to wear, tell you what they want. And it seems nice at first, but if you're not educated, which is why a big thing that I do is just educate the women that I work with, it can very much lead into control. It very much does lead into control, into abuse, into anger issues. It never starts there. It just starts and gets worse and worse. But if you aren't educated or you don't learn how to love yourself enough to know that you want someone who's just going to be gentle with you, not try to dominate you. And also for a woman, like she can find a man who she will dominate so that she will feel more safe. I have this all the time with my women. There are successful women who are like Jody Lynn was saying, like the providers, and he's like, doesn't work, has no job, total effing loser, maybe cute, maybe not, but like helps with the kids while he lives in her house for free. And she thinks like, well, I guess that's the best I can get. But they subconsciously choose like cripple men so that they feel more safe being the better one, that he won't leave.
Yeah.
It's practically falling over with laughter, by the way, as you're saying this. I don't know if you noticed that. But
Yeah, totally. My ex, before I met my husband, we dated for a year and then we got engaged. Literally 2 weeks after we got engaged, he met somebody else while we were at a conference, and I saw them meet, and I was like, I had all the feelings, and I ignored all of it. And then 2 weeks after that, he was like, I don't know if I love you. I don't know if I love myself. He went on this big thing and whatever. And so we were like talking, and one of the things that I find laughable now, but he would always ask me for money. He never had any money. And like he had his own place with some guys or whatever. And so at some point in our relationship, I was paying for my own apartment, his apartment, my office lease. I had 2 offices, so 2 office leases. He had an office lease, and he also had another office lease. So 4 offices that I was paying for and 2 houses. And I was like, enough of this. I can't afford all of this. So you're going to move in with me, or you're going to start paying your own bills or whatever. And you're going to start paying your own office rent and whatever. And while we were breaking up, he was like, I didn't want to move in with you. And I said, well, you didn't have to. You could have just started paying for your own stuff. And he was like, well, you shouldn't have gave me the money. Well, you shouldn't have asked. Like, I was just like, what are you talking about? How am I the one that did this wrong? When I gave you everything that you asked for, I was so blindsided, but I didn't see all of those red flags of all of these things happening and taking care of him and like all of this that was going on until after it was over.
And is it that you didn't see them or that you didn't want to see them?
I didn't want to see them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most women are so scared of abandonment. I mean, for me, that was my issue. Like, I had been at that point, my best friend had died at 25, like from an overdose. He just got a bad batch. I mean, not just, but he got addicted to painkillers, and then he ran out of money because they're very expensive. So he got heroin, and it was a bad batch, and he died, and he was 25. And I was like, I'll call you right back. And I never got to call him right back. So I dealt with him dying. And he was like the first big loss in my life. Now Death and I are friends. It's fine. Lots of people have died again, and I'm like fine with it. But that was my first big death. Like, someone's alive and you talk to them all the time, and the next second they're gone and young, like in their 20s. That was really hard on me. And my parents had divorced, and I had buried so many people. So for me, I didn't process abandonment. So for me to leave him, my ex at the time, and cause death and abandonment when that was already overwhelming for me was way too frightening. And until I got comfortable with my pain and with abandonment, could I leave him and stay away? There was a million times that I left him and we got right back together. Or he would say, just so you know, I don't want to not do drugs. But I would just like lie to myself that he was going to stop doing, because I personally couldn't handle abandonment. So a lot of women just have so much trauma that they haven't approached, that the additional trauma of losing someone just scares the shit out of them so bad that the pain of staying seems like it would be better than the pain of leaving.
Yeah.
Even though that's not true.
I remember my very first relationship when I was in my early 20s. And he was very narcissistic, very controlling, and emotionally abusive. And it was going down the trajectory of it was eventually going to get physical. There was like breaking of things in the vicinity of where I was. So it was going down that path, but I wasn't paying attention to those things. I just kept thinking, I don't know where this really came from, but when I was, in my early 20s, I thought, if we just get married, things will change. If we just have kids, things will change. And then I had convinced myself that this is just how it is. Even though I didn't see other relationships quite like mine, where it was explosive and lots of yelling and angry and stuff, I just started to really believe the things that he was saying, that I wasn't good and that I didn't deserve a lot. And I just thought, this is how it is, until I was taken out of that situation and went to United States for work, actually. And it was in that moment, like meeting different guys, these Southern gentlemen that were there. I was like, oh, not all men are like this. What? They pull out your chair, they're nice to you, they're sweet, there's no yelling, like I'm not afraid. Like, oh, I have gotten this really wrong. Having kids, getting married, this is not going to fix it. This is not going to fix it. Thank God. Left shortly after that. But there's a lot of people who have the same line of thinking, and I'm sure you've ran into them too, where they're like, this is just how it works.
100%. That's why I said you could be really delusional. And like, with all due love and respect, like, you were delusional that if he would just go under the altar with you, all of a sudden all of his behavior would change. And I was straight up delusional that if I loved him enough, or slept with him enough, or was kind to him enough, or nurtured him enough, he would stop doing drugs. I didn't understand the depths of disease, of codependency, of addiction, of how we have to change our worth, change our belief systems, love ourselves. Like that was my entry point to self-love. I was like, oh, so everything that you attract that isn't good in your life is because you don't love yourself enough. Like to me, that was like a mind-boggling concept. And it was true. Like, oh, I just don't love myself. I hurt myself with beer or with lying, or I run away from my pain, or the deluge. Like every time you run away from yourself, you're abandoning yourself. And that's just not love. And so when I learned, oh, self-love is actually at the root of every healthy relationship, whether it's with your body, your food, money, a man, I was like, that's the work I had to do. And I'm still hard on myself and I still have to work on myself every day, but you're never not in a relationship with yourself. When people say, who do you love? You're like, my cat, my kid. I'm like, start with yourself, because if you don't love yourself, you're not going to ever be there for your kid. You're always going to be like annoyed or resentful or like happy when they go to sleep or whatever. But if you love yourself, you can manage when they cry a lot better. And that's something that I've been working on. Like, I hate when my daughter would cry. I'm like, well, that's so weird. That's pain. And then I learned like, I just have to be okay with pain even more, so that when she cries, it doesn't bother me. And you're always doing work. You're never healed and done. You're always in a relationship with yourself. Like if you're married and your husband says, I love you one day, but then like 3 years later or 3 weeks later or 3 days later, he doesn't say, I love you, you would feel so abandoned. But if we don't learn how to say, I love you every day to ourselves, we can lose ourselves in the chaos of pain and distraction. And so it's like an active relationship that we need to be in, so that we can truly enjoy life and be there for the ones we love.
So let's touch on that, because that's really the most important point of all. If you've actually gotten honest enough with yourself to say, you know what, I really don't love myself as much as I really could, or maybe really honest and saying I don't love myself at all. But however you decide to address that, assuming you come to that conclusion, give some people ideas about how they can turn that around. How can they turn around that relationship with themselves?
First, you have to want it. You have to make it a choice. So everything starts with a choice. I don't want to hurt people anymore, and only hurt people hurt. So if you're hurting anyone in your life, it's because you're hurting, and you can stop it now if you make a decision. But you have to make the decision that you want to start. You don't have to be fully ready, but you do have to make a decision. So after you make the decision, then you have to start learning how to forgive. You forgive your past self for allowing people to hurt you. You forgive your mom for doing stupid, harmful stuff. You forgive the guy that raped you. You forgive the guy that beat. Everyone has crazy stories, whether it's this, that, or the other thing. Someone has a weird story. So you forgive them and you don't hold on to them. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it okay, but you forgive and you release, and you say, if I hold on to anger, anger is an attaching emotion. I'm attaching to you and your abuse. And that means I will be an abuser, either to myself and then to others by default. So you have to forgive all of the people who hurt you, whoever that is. A lot of times it's our parents for not doing this, that, the other thing. They didn't know any better. And you have to get real forgiveness work. Like you stop feeling any form of visceral reaction to that person who you wish would have been different, or how could they have done that? And after forgiveness, then you learn to accept yourself as is. So I am lovable as is. Nothing that anyone has done to me or that I have done in the past stops me from deserving good love and only love. And then there's the protection. Once I've released my past and it no longer haunts me, and I forgave everyone, and I know that I'm lovable as is because I exist, not that I have to earn it. I exist, and therefore I am lovable because God is love and there is good in the world, and I am part of that. Then you protect yourself. Then you stop speaking to people who don't make you feel that way. Whether it's your mom or your relative or your sister or your cousin or your best friend that you've known for 35 years, if they're not making you feel 100% lovable and they accept you as you are, you stop speaking to them, or you very, very minimally like have any form of contact. It doesn't mean you don't love them. It doesn't mean they're not a good person at a different point in your life. You can just say, I'm in a new phase and I'm protecting myself a lot, which means I'm spending a lot more time with me and not very many other people. So I won't be speaking as much to you. I hope you can understand it. And if it's a really bad relationship, you block them and you just say, so appreciate all that you've done for me. I'm taking a hiatus of social life, and I'm going to be blocking you as a protection for myself, nothing to do with you, only to do with me. And I wish you the very best. and you block them. No anger, no drama, just clear communication. And when you close your circles to very small amounts of people who are like, you've got this, girl, you were born for this. You've got this, Walt, you were born for this. You can find another love. Nothing in the past dictates your future. You're okay. You've got this. When you have a small group of people who believe in you, you can continue the forgiveness and the acceptance of yourself and be a source of love to you and others.
Yeah, I love that last bit, the forgiveness of yourself, because it's so easy to think about, I have to, all these other people I have to forgive. But when do we forgive ourselves? That's the part we often leave out, because it's that internal conversation. That's really what drives the boat right there. I mean, the rest of it is the choices we make, but the conversations we have about and to ourselves, that's where all the self-esteem is either there or it's not. That's where the self-love is either there or it's not. That's where all of the good or bad feelings are. It comes out of that self-talk. That's where the victim psychology comes from. How do we talk to ourselves? It's what I had a guy who was publishing in one of the singles groups on Facebook. He was asking, what does it take for me to have magnetism? How do you talk to yourself? If you talk to yourself well, you're going to have magnetism. If you don't talk to yourself well, there's nothing. I don't care how good looking you are, you're not going to have magnetism. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. I remember when I decided I wasn't going to go back to the addict. And again, sweet, amazing, intelligent, kind, loving, affectionate man, also who had an addiction. I bought myself a card with my favorite flowers on it with peonies, pink peonies. And I wrote myself a love note. Dear Chaya, I love you so much. I promise to never hurt you again. Nice. I promise to never leave you again. I promise that I'll be here for you in the future and I won't ignore your pain. I love you so much. Love, Chaya. Until this day, I still write myself love notes every day. I have a sticky pad, a Post-it. Every morning, a Post-it is this big, right? It's 3 inches. How long does it take? It's not about the time. It's about the commitment. So I write, dear Chaya, I love you so much. And whatever I'm going through, I love you, Chaya, right? Because if I don't show up for me, I don't feel good about me. And if I don't feel good about me, my husband gets less of me or not the best version. My kids get a less version. I have less patience because I don't feel like I'm good enough. But if I can just be there for myself, I will then counteract the negativity that just exists by growing. Growing as we are alive is painful. But as as Cody Sanchez and Alex Hormozy, some really great business people say, choose your hard. It's hard to be in an abusive relationship and it's hard to work on yourself to have an epic marriage, but choose your hard. So it's hard for me to grow and always love myself and be there for myself. But if I don't do that, then my life is a different type of hard with no reward. So avoiding the pain, avoiding the hard is not the answer. It's choosing your hard that makes your life great.
Yeah, because when you actually choose to love yourself, then you make it possible for other people to love you. It's really not possible for somebody else to love you more than you love yourself. There's no way to do that. Somehow we don't get that message very often. I'm not quite sure why, but it's the truth. If you can't love yourself beyond X, you're never going to get any love beyond X from anyone else.
Which is the opposite of what American society says. They're just someone else is going to love you and save you. All the American, all the Disney princesses, they're all stuck. They're all stuck and sad. And the man comes, I will save you. And the little girls grow up thinking the man is just going to show up and make their life better. And it's in all the movies. She's so sad and depressed and she goes to the bar and then the hot guy comes oh, you're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. I'll take care of you. And she goes, you will. It's
Did you say that you were pursuing an acting career? I was just kind of...
Yeah, I do speak on stages a lot. So I get my acting career on the stages.
Well, that actually raises an important question because we're nearing the end of our time allotted here. For someone who wants to reach out and contact you and touch base and find out whether or not maybe you're somebody that they want to work with, how do they reach you?
Yes. So if you're looking for a speaker at your event, corporate or regular, or if you would like a dating expert to help you attract the right relationship, you can book a call with me at connectwithchaya.com. That's connect with CHAYA.com. And it is a calendar to book a link because the truth is if you need help, you should get it and you should get it now. And those who really change their life take action before they're ready or have everything figured out. So if you're interested in seeing if it's a right fit, book a call at connectwithchaya, CHAYA.com. And I look forward to helping you.
And you like having people reach out, I'm sure.
I do. You know, most people don't. Most people get afraid of everything. How much does it cost? Is she the right one? Is it right for me? Everyone is so afraid they don't take action in their life. So most people find God opportunities to heal, but fear their way out of it. So yeah, I love getting calls. I love when people come into my program. I love seeing how fast their life changes after like a few coaching sessions or a mastermind, which is like a group coaching program that I have that I drip them into. Like such rapid change in like 2 or 3 sessions. And it blows my mind how some people have been in one pattern for their whole life. And I have people from the age of 20 to 80 in my program that the 80-year-olds say the same thing the 20-year-olds do. As you know, Walt, like if you know, age doesn't give you education. It just doesn't. And you don't learn by trial and error. You learn by just education. So I always get amazed at when people can come in and change their lives so fast and actually have a better life in every area. But most people stop themselves because not the right time. Maybe next month when I'm like done the boyfriend, or when I leave the job, or, you know, I'm moving this month in like 70 days, I'm moving. So after the move, I'll call her for the coaching because then I'll be ready. Everyone has a story why they don't heal. But I, of course, welcome all the listeners who are hearing this to stop your fear and jump into faith to get the help you deserve, because we're all here for so short and you can live such a better life. So I do love when they reach out, but you'd be surprised how much our minds get in our own way. But hopefully they will hear this and maybe shift differently.
This sounds a little familiar, doesn't it, Jody Lynn? I mean, because you're a coach. I mean, you're a money coach, but you have the same kind of experiences with your clients, right?
Yeah, one day.
One day. So one of the things I like to do, is I like to go to Jody Lynn to kind of summarize the conversation, to tie together what she sees as the highlights and the thing that really ties it all together. So Jody Lynn, what is it today? What's grabbing your attention saying this is the takeaway?
Oh man, I think one of the biggest things I wrote in like big block letters, and I loved how you said this, was I am effed up and I am 100% lovable. Because that's not a message that we hear in our everyday society, that we've all gone through some sort of trauma and pain and distortion and delusion and messed up. And it's okay. You're still 100% lovable. And I think that premise of looking at yourself, of looking at all the things that you've done, the choices that you've made, the people that you've chose, the things that you've said, and also what others have, other things that have happened to you, it can kind of be overwhelming to be able to move past all of those things and see love. And with you and today in this program, it's such a beautiful reminder that no matter what, you are here and you are 100% lovable. And I think that message really needs to be heard by the entire world. And when it is truly felt, it will change everything. So thank you for that message today.
Thank you so much, Jody Lynn. That was such a beautiful summary. It is something that I love and share. And thank you, Walt. It's been such an honor to be here and hang out with you guys. It's like, you know, you hang out on a podcast for an hour and you're like, we're all family. We can go on vacation now.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's meet up, drinks on the beach. You know, anyways, yeah, it was truly a pleasure. I do love that. If we can all believe that our mistakes don't define us and we're still lovable, it's like a really big way of not getting sick physically, and then also just enjoying life, because we're always making mistakes.
Yeah.
And if you think that you're going to stop, then you misunderstand it. But if you can make a mistake and be like, still lovable, 100% still lovable, then you could just pick yourself back up so much faster and then be, you know, better for the next thing or person or situation that comes up in your life.
That leads to the last thing that I like to do at the end of every show, because that little summary you gave at the end there, Chaya, really touches on how you give your message out. Because now that we live in the 21st century, where we can be all, I mean, Jody Lynn's in Canada, I'm in the East Coast of the United States. I mean, we're in different areas of the world in some places. Sometimes we literally are. We got guests in Australia or Europe or whatever. And in the course of being able to do a podcast like that, we also have the social media, we have the blogs, we have the books that people are publishing for themselves and through publishers. I mean, there's all these different ways that just anybody can reach out and share what they've learned along the way with others and help other people. And in the process, that's what people are doing. They're being helped by other people, including by people like you, because you're doing all that. You're doing other podcasts besides this one. You're doing a whole bunch of stuff to reach out and talk to people. And I noticed something about that. I noticed that there's a whole lot of help going on that isn't being recognized. So I like to say, hi, on behalf of those people you've never met, never seen, never will meet, never will see, who you've been helping in ways you didn't even know about. On their behalf, thank you for what you're doing, because you're making a difference in this world.
That was so sweet, Walt. That was so sweet, and that was so touching. I know I'm just supposed to say thank you, but like, I really do this for the babies who are going to be born in the world, because every day babies are born, and they're either born into a home where almost 50% of marriages, they will feel loss and destruction before they're 18 is the statistic. And either babies are going to be born into safe, loving homes where they will be safe and loved and not have to travel back and forth. So I really do this for a very global vision of like the millions of babies that'll be born way after I pass. But if I can impact the world now and help people have healthy relationships, the ripple effect is really beyond me. And so I really appreciate you saying that, because I really do care, and I do hope to impact the world at large.
Well, that's my way of saying you already are, you already have, and you will continue to do so. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to our podcast listeners everywhere. We'll see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.